Hello and welcome to another episode of a wrestling figure news kind of mood. I'm Justin Kendall, and of course, I am joined by Travis Moody. What is up, Travis?
What is up? Episode 2. We made it. We made it to episode 2.
Yeah, it was a long, rocky road to get there to, and I didn't throw you through a barbershop window yet.
No, but are we ready for a couple of degenerates to break down all the wrestling figure news? And we're in that kind of mood today, so I'm excited as always.
Always in the mood to break down wrestling figure news, and I was just doing that a night ago. By the time you listen to this, it might be a couple days ago, but on Nick Storm's Figure Friday, I made a guest appearance. I was in the Nick Storm Vortex. We talked all about the latest wrestling figure news, just the big stuff, really, in WWE and AEW. So if you would like, go check that out. And also, you can check out my interview with Mattel WWE Global Brand Marketing Manager Steve Ozer. That was on last week's Wrestling Figure News podcast. It's an hour and a half of lots of info.
It was gold, man. You did a kick-ass job. And you know what? He made the rounds. He always makes the rounds. So if he's gonna do an interview, he's gonna do like 3 or 4 or 5 others. I gotta say, you won this round, brother. I said wrestling figure news for the win, big time.
I think everybody's getting a little bit out of him, but Nick Storm had him
Little, but you
first.
got a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I had like 5 pages of notes, and we made it through all of them. So we talked about the best of Elite Monday Night War wave that's going to be coming, and that's going to feature a Triple H figure that was an Amazon exclusive Attitude Era figure. It was, I think this was post WrestleMania. So he's got the DX shirt, the leather jacket, the blue jeans, and just they're remaking that figure. He's going to be one of the 2 WWE figures. There will be 2 classic WCW figures, and they are not pulling from this Monday Night War line. They are pulling from previous waves that would fit into the Monday Night War era. So, and with that, you're going to get a build a figure NWO Vincent slash Virgil.
For sure. So just cutting back to Triple H, I've named the video version on a toy kind of mood the Are You Ready? Because we're starting with Triple H. We might end with Triple H as far as DX. Never had this. It's kind of a theme for me on this episode 2, because I was a casual wrestling figure collector until I started presenting some of these things. So to be able to get some of these figures again, whether it's top picks, greatest hits from the vault, I'm thrilled. I know the hardcore sellers and aren't super thrilled with it. But man, the real one we want is the one on the right?
Yeah, that's the
The
old
Triple H
defining
with the jacket.
moments. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the defining moments one from way back, beginning of the line. So, yeah, that would be a very cool figure. I think that's post Attitude Era, but yeah, we need that anyway.
Yeah, and then just on Vincent, it is cool, at least even though these are like your greatest hits, that we're getting an all new Build-A-Figure. That's the key. That's gonna get the hardcore collectors involved as well as, the noobs like me who are cherry picking all those years.
Yeah, and if you previously purchased some of those, I think it was a Royal Rumble wave that the boxer Virgil came in, and you've got the arms laying around, or you have the head or the torso or whatever, and you didn't want to build that version of Virgil, you can always use it toward this. So that's definitely an option that's out there.
Too sweet.
So also we talked about the tag team 2 packs that are coming to Mattel Creations. Those are going to go up for pre-order this summer. They're going to be back to back to back is what Steve said. So you're going to have these in hand by the end of the year, which I think is very exciting.
And I'm pumped because, just got from the vault. I got the Dudleys and the WWE garb, and now we're going to start seeing different versions of that with ECW here, and then Headbanger. So the key is the Mega Power style 2 pack is something that we're getting new, right?
Yep. And it is the Dudleys, the Headbangers, as you mentioned, and Imperium Giovanni Vinci, who's been kicked out of Imperium, of course, by now, and Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah, it's cool. But are you still gonna pick up Imperium even though they're splitting up just to complete the trio?
I'm getting all of these. Like, all of these, it's a done deal, so that's not even a
Mhm.
concern.
Yeah, I would say the Headbangers are the winners so far. I was never like a super Headbangers. They were a tag team I followed, and they're like they're cool, you know. I even forgot they were champions. I just never thought they even reached that level. So excuse me for my ignorance there, but yeah, these look super. Just the face sculpts are on point. I know they're excited that these are coming out, signing the deal. You got the cloth skirt and the shirt. These might be the winners of these three.
I don't know, it's right up there with the Dudleys, but yeah, the Headbangers were tag team champions, and of course, it was in a very dark period for WWE where the, tag team division was like the Headbangers and the Godwins.
Well, there you go.
So, and then we talked a lot about the roadmap for the Great Muta and how there's this plan that they have in place, pre-approved, although it could change. And we discussed a little bit of whether we're going to see Muta figures outside of the NWA, WCW era. And there's a big question mark there, but we did get that Shinsuke Nakamura from the Bye Bye Muta match. And I think it was what, Noah?
Mhm. For sure.
So,
I actually just ordered 3. 109 just hit Amazon, and I ordered 3 in hopes of a chase because you can always return things at Amazon. So there's a tip I shouldn't have said on the air. My bad.
no, that's it. That's why we're here. We're here to give some of those tips, those insider news things, and, that's the Muta you have on screen is the Future Shock '89 Muta from that, sort of round robin tournament that they did, and that is my most desired Muta at this point because we know that's not the one that we're getting in the Ultimate Edition Wave 25, but I don't know, man. That's the one. And I think we also need Gary Hart at this point.
Alright, but to be honest, I think like Kyle said, and shout out to Alex and Kyle who are on our WrestleMania. I think this was the most fun we had on the show was breaking down all the gorgeous outfits of Muta that we probably won't get, and then contemplating what we will get. It was a blast. So give me all the Mutas. That's like
Yep.
give me all of them. I don't care which one. It could be, KG Muto, it could be the classic one. Obviously, we're already getting the essential one right away. So I'm cool with whatever they want to give me.
I think we've waited like 35, 40 years for Muta. So it's long overdue. But
Been waiting my whole life.
you went to New Japan recently. You were in, I think it was Ontario, California, the event there.
Yeah, it was. It was New Japan Pro Wrestling presents Resurgence. It was crazy because leading up to the card, it didn't seem that good. They announced the first 5, 6 matches. I was like, man, this is a downer, especially after Windy City Riot that they had in Chicago not too long ago. But then once they were done Dantaku, the card leveled up and it lived up to expectations. By the way, when you see all those empty seats in the visual, that's because that's the hard cam side. No one's supposed to sit there. They should have tarped it off. So it looks, of course, people love that WWE fans love to take pictures of AEW New Japan and say, haha, see, there was 6 people there. But no, there was a good crowd in Ontario and they were loving it. And shout out to all my homies that I go to wrestling shows with. And there's a look at a Muda shirt. So if you watch the visual, I got a cool Muda shirt. And then yeah, the main event was John Moxley and Shota Umino. I was not able to watch the entire match live and in person. The show went on way too late. That's my only gripe with it is it was a super far drive, almost 2 hours for us there and an hour back. And then it was like a 5+ hour show. So really long show, but really great. And maybe the highlight was Gabe Kidd and Eddie Kingston. I wouldn't go 4.75 like Meltzer did, but I would definitely give it a strong 4 out of 5.
Yeah, and well wishes to Eddie Kingston, who broke his leg in that match, or sounds like he broke his leg in that match, and he's since
Yikes.
been replaced by Darby and Anarchy in the arena.
Who got hit by a bus. So
Yeah, and
just
still
nuts.
has a a broken foot, I guess. But you've also done a lot of work on your channel. You've done a top 10 Cody WWE figures. So shout out to you for doing that too.
It was a lot of work, and I know, our audience over here at a Toy Kind of Mood. I almost call it a wrestling figure news. A Toy Kind of Mood. They love their Star Wars, their Marvel, their GI Joe, their McFarlane and Mezco. But man, go check this out. I pretty much reviewed the 10 modern releases of Cody, give or take. There's a few missing for reasons I explained, but I review them all in 30 minutes. So it seems like a long video, but when you consider that there are pretty much deep dives on 10 figures in 30 minutes, I think it's not a bad accomplishment, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So anyone who checks us out, leave a comment, like all that stuff, and it really helps me out. And yeah, I want feedback. I want to know if the rankings, if you agree with my rankings on this video. I'm very curious to see what everyone thinks because yeah, a lot 3 of these just came out. So I thought it was a good time to do a ranking video. So any support is appreciated.
And also this week, it was the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast 300th episode. So shout out to them for making it to 300. And they dropped that YouTube video on Monday morning. And it was a great watch. I think it might have been 3 hours, but lots of info coming out of that one.
Yep. So I gave it a listen, made for a couple good commutes because it's 3 hours long. So even though my commute, lots of LA traffic, but not that much to listen to the entire episode, thankfully. But great stuff, lots of fun guests, and I want to give a shout out to my guy right here, Ringside Collectibles. I call him JP, but you can call him Jonathan, or just don't call him at all. Just leave him alone because he's working hard. He's busy. There's lots of stuff coming out. It broke our wallets last week, and it's breaking our wallets again this week. We'll talk about our pickups at the end. But good old JP, great guy. He was a guest, and he was real. It was fun to hear him and have a good time. I guess he was on the. He's been partners with them since day one, and with a major pod guy. So it was great to hear my buddy John on there. So shout out to him. Big love for JP.
Yeah, we love everything they do over at Ringside. And al- also, you've got on here that Maven made a great appearance, and I'd love to see a Maven figure here at some point.
Yeah, now it's like I'm not gonna lie, I've never really been a Maven guy. Of course, it was during that, that era we talked about. Um, you know, but he was so funny and the banter he had with Cardona, especially, and they've had their mix-ins and matches and stuff, but man, he was hilarious. And I'm like, oh, if we could just hear this guy on a live mic again, it'd be gold. And I'd love to see a comeback beyond the indies for Maven. But it was cool to hear him and because I've never been a big Maven guy, but now I'm a fan. I need a figure. I agree with you, man. Let's bring it. Let's get an Ultimate Edition Maven right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, I'll take an elite at least. So, but they really did break some news on that 300th episode, and one of those was that they're going to have another modern figure in the Big Rubber Guys line. Ethan Page was on the show, and there's going to be an all ego Big Rubber Guy. There's actually going to be 2 modern guys in the June wave of Big Rubber Guys, and then there will also be 2 legends. So they haven't named the other 3 figures, but this is a pretty cool figure. He's doing the all ego pose, the, finger on the cheek, and he's got the jacket on. So very toyetic looking. And I'll be picking this up in June. And that brings us to something else they talked about, which was their Super 7 figures and Super 7 Wave 2, which is super rare in comparison to Wave 1. And they broke down the numbers, and it was 792 Brian Myers. That's all they made in Series 2. Compare that to 5,120 in Series 1. And then Cardona, he's getting 888 figures in Wave 2 compared to 5,296 in Wave 1. And when you think about it, those are essentially, you think about like the AEW line and how they put out 1 of 5,000, which is like
Right.
a chase figure, and then they have the 1 of 3,000 rare figures.
Mhm.
I mean, the production runs on these super, super low in the hundreds. I think that would make them as rare as maybe the black carded Sergeant Slaughter, if not,
Wow.
I don't wanna say for sure, but I know that that figure was produced in the hundreds, and I think the first round of Harley Race was really, really limited as well.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something to sort of, like, benchmark it on. I don't know. I didn't pick up either of these. I think that a lot of people were spooked by the $75 price tag, and I don't
Mhm.
blame them. But
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I've got the first Cardona from Super 7, and, you get a little itchy when you see those numbers, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on these.
Yeah, maybe that's why there's less numbers, and then also I was spooked by the, New Japan figures they made, so, I'm clamoring for more. Storm Collectibles, unfortunately, they do one a year and do several variants, which we'll talk about later in the episode. But yeah, I like these guys; they're fun to listen to. But I don't know. It's not in my wheelhouse, and I don't mess with Super Seven unless it's Thundercats, and I pretty much have the five I had as a kid. So I'm kind of good with that company. Nothing against them. I know they work hard. They got a lot of cool IPs. People are fans. We have other hosts on a toy kind of mood that love their Super Seven, but I'm good.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the real big news that came out of the Major Pod 300th episode, and that was the full lineups for Elite 113 and Elite 114. And we had seen a few of these figures. We knew that we were getting Tiffany Stratton and Carlito with a chase in Elite 113, but we did not know that we would be getting a CM Punk figure, Kofi Kingston, Trick Williams, and Dragon Lee. And to me, that is a pretty dope lineup. I mean, you've got one, two, three, four first time elites in that in
Mhm.
that line, which is pretty
Yeah.
impressive. And then that Punk, we don't know what it is, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But you put up the Royal Rumble attire, and I think it could be that, because that wasn't that top picks figure that we saw shown off during WrestleMania weekend in just the plain black trunks, and that's going to be a top picks figure. So that's already earmarked there. This could be the same figure because they do a lot of re-release there, but my gut tells me that they're not going to release two plain black trunks CM Punks in two different waves.
So you don't think it's going to be Royal Rumble
I think it
CM
might
Punk?
be the Royal Rumble
Oh,
CM
okay.
Punk.
Because I was like, they're not. They look plain black in that picture in the middle, but if you look, that's why I have the three pictures, so you could see the boots and you could see the back of the tights. He's got the Chicago stripes and star, so this would be good because then they could just easily paint over the black. It wouldn't be like that difficult to do. So it'll be interesting how they do the face sculpt. I mean, we've seen part of that with the Mattel Creations, but on this one he's got a little more hair, right, than the one that we have from the Mattel Creations one.
Um, I think so. I can't
Mhm.
tell for sure. It looks a little just for men out to me a little bit too. A lot less gray than say his AEW run.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because in the Mattel Creations, he looks, it's fairly gray. Of course, that's accurate, but here, yeah, he's definitely colored his hair, and it's kind of spiking, but that could be from all the damage he took from Cody in the Royal Rumble too. So, because as you could see when he was coming down the aisle, it was all slicked back. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of look we get. But this will be a banger, though. I mean, for sure, first appearance.
Yeah, and let's break down 114, and then we can get into sort of individual guys too. And that
Absolutely.
Elite 114 lineup features, and we knew this, Jimmy Uso, a not Yeet guy, and then Jay Uso, a very Yeet guy, and he has got the Yeet pants. I'm guessing he's going to probably have, and I don't know this for certain, a cloth goods Elite or Yeet shirt maybe cut off. I think that that could work well. And then the rest of this lineup is Tommaso Ciampa, Zoe Stark's first figure, Ilya Dragunov, so he's his second elite, and then Braun Breaker. So if you count Chase's, this would be his third. And I've got a lot of questions about this lineup. Just on first sight, how you feeling about this lineup?
I think it's okay. As you could see in the notes, I have only one highlighted, so we should just, go maybe run through 113 and 114 down the aisle. I couldn't wait a minute for CM Punk, bro. It's CM Punk. We had to get to it right away. But yeah, as far as 114, it's not as exciting as 113 because we just have all those new names, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's really what it came down to. But if you want to kind of run through these in more discrete detail, we can.
Well, this is a modern Carlito. He has the apple in hand. He has the goatee, the poofed out hair, and the purple attire is going to be the chase. The white is the regular edition, I believe. I'm pretty sure on that one. And then Tiffany Stratton is in a Barbie gear, which when you're Mattel, you can do these kind of things, which I think is great. And I'm very excited to get an elite Tiffany Stratton figure finally. I don't know if finally is the right word, but this is going to be a pretty sought after figure, I think.
Yeah, she's making an impact. So I think the question is the face scan. It doesn't look bad from the digital render. So in hand will be way different, And then of course we have Carlito. He just shaved off the sash that we've seen now hanging out with Judgment Day. So he's got a little bit of a different look, but this is a good first run at him.
Always what happens once you get the figure almost here. They change up their look.
That makes you crave for more and more and more. That's how they get us,
I don't
bro.
know. I'll be good with this. So, and then Kofi Kingston and Trick Williams. I am most excited about Trick Williams here. He is becoming a star on NXT. He is a star, well, there's
Mhm.
no arguing there. He's got the it factor. And then Kofi Kingston in 113 is going to pair well with that Xavier Woods in Elite 112.
Mhm. Cool. I just threw a Kofi picture on here for those watching video. I like the color purple, but with Judgment Day, I don't know if they'd go that way. I'm not an NXT guy, but I'm happy for Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams. These guys are making waves and making new fans, and now they get their own figures. So excited for them.
Yeah, and that's that Skeletor attire that Kofi wore, and they made an Elite of, and I think it's a pretty pricey Elite at this point.
Nice.
And then Dragon Lee is getting his first figure here along with Trick. So it'll
Woo!
be great to see him in the Elite line. And I'm very curious what attire they're going to choose for him.
Do you think it's this one?
I'm not very familiar with this one. So this one's red and white gear. So I don't know what they'll
Yeah.
choose.
It just seems when it when I Google Dragon Lee WWE, this seems to be the one that pops up the most. Other than that, it's LWO stuff. So it baffles me. But either way, Dragon Lee is a must. I mean, I've seen him all over the country, or I should just say all over California, really. But I've seen him up in the Bay Area wrestle in a tournament, 3 matches in one night. And then, of course, at PWG several times, and then in New Japan and stuff like that. He's definitely one of my faves, and I think they've done a good job with him in WWE and better job at NXT. But I think he's had some injuries and stuff like that. I hope with the in the Triple H era, guys like this can make more of an impact than what we had before. So looking forward to seeing more Dragon Lee on TV and more Dragon Lee on the pegs.
Yeah, and this is a reference shot that you're showing on the video version of this. So if it's a reference shot, that's likely the one that they went with.
Nailed it.
So Jimmy and Jay, we're going to talk a little bit about Elite 114, and we've seen the Jimmy and the Jay, so we can probably skip over them pretty much because we know it's a Yeet Jay and a pretty plain black joggers Jimmy. So you know, I I think I'm probably with a lot of folks who would have preferred this be the Ultimate Edition attire that they went with, but You gotta
100.
mix it up. You can't really yeah, as Steve
Yep.
told me a couple weeks back, you can't just throw your best attires in the Ultimate line or the Elite line. You gotta, like, spread them out. My only
100%.
question about that Jay is if he's gonna have the palm trees tattoo on his side.
Good. Good looking out. I can't keep up with his tats for sure. I'll leave that
I
up to you, but,
I don't think
no
anybody
yeet
can.
on these. Yeah, but no yeet on these. I mean, these are if I find them down the line or on sale or at the Mattel store or whatever, maybe, but, I don't know if I'll be jumping on these.
Mhm. And then the rest of the lineup, we're getting another Champa figure. I don't know what the attire might be. Could it be the DX style? Will it be sort of their comeback to Raw? Don't know. Zoe Stark, that's another one. Do they go with an attire that she wore during her time with Trish Stratus, or do they mix it up? Ilya Dragunov, I'm imagining we're going to get the updated look with the beard and the big coat, or at least I'm hoping they give us the big coat.
And that's why I got it there. I mean, yeah, that fluffy coat we've seen, it's been more of an Ultimate Edition specialty with Ashka and Seth. But if he just comes with an extra pair of hands and that coat, they could probably get it done. You know how they do it, the wave. Some will have less accessories, some will have better. So hopefully he's on the better side, and he's becoming a star. So it's like hopefully on Raw people can get used to him. But he's having good. Is it Raw SmackDown? He had a match with Jey Uso. Was it? I'm
It
trying. It
was
was
on
Raw,
Raw.
right?
Yep,
Yeah, yeah,
Raw.
yeah. Oh, yeah, right there. It's on the screen. Duh, Trav. Don't look at Justin. Look at the screen. But Justin's so handsome. But yeah. Hey, we're in a good mood here. Are you ready? But yeah, Ilya Dragunov is the man. I loved it. Another guy I just loved in the Indies. Again, he was in Bola and PWG. A lot of great matches at WXW with Walter, aka Gunther. Gunther. So yeah, I skipped on the NXT stuff because I don't watch the brand. But when these guys shoot up to the main roster, if they had a background in the Indies and I've caught them, especially if it's PWG, I'm all about it.
Yeah, and then Braun Breaker is rounding out this line, and I gotta wonder which attire they're gonna go with. Are they gonna give us Beard Breaker? Are they gonna, give us that updated look? We'll find out. He's had some very cool looks during his NXT days, but you got to figure once we're getting into the 114s that Ilya and Braun are probably getting their main roster attires, I would think.
You'd think. Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about things that are shipping now and probably on my porch today, at least, is the Legends of the Territory era, the Superstar Billy Graham, Harley Race, Muhammad Ali, and Gorilla Monsoon. I bought this on day one. I only got one. I only need one, but that Harley race, that superstar Billy Graham, the titles, the first time in the line, WWF championship, the territory championship, not the NWA championship, the territory championship. Uh, had to have these two. Gorilla, Muhammad, yeah, I'll take them, I guess, but I don't know. Like and this is something that came out of Fig Night with Mike Belcaster and OG Fig Kid was Muhammad Ali was the anchor for this set. He's the whole reason that they made this box set.
Wow, that's wild. And, the Muhammad Ali, I was excited about that exclusive, but now it's like the most peg warming Comic-Con exclusive they ever had. It's not obviously only peg warming at maybe a Mattel store. It isn't in stores, but it was basically digitally peg warming. It was on Mattel Creations for a long time. I know people that bought several to like flip because you could always, pay for your Comic-Con exclusives with others, and that just didn't work out for anybody. So and, you can't return things to Mattel Creation, so good luck with that. But no, I'm glad I only grabbed one when I could. And it was one of those crazy things at Comic Con where you could actually buy it at the end of the show. Like I remember Kyle Peterson, shout out to my dude right there, but he was like, "Bro, I just went up to the desk and got one." And I was like, because I didn't want to wait in that line that's like 10 hours long to get stuff from Mattel. And then if you had just waited till like Saturday or Sunday, you could come away with two of them if you wanted. they couldn't give him away. Nothing against Muhammad Ali. It's just an old era, you know, the territories. And the reason I skipped out on this is because it wasn't a 2-pack. If it was a 2-pack, Billy Graham, Harley Race, I'm in. I think $80 for the whole set is a great deal, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I think it was a fantastic deal for this one, and they have been reasonably priced, at least the elites have, through Mattel Creations on these special sets, whether it's the NW or LWO, which I think came in around $100, or
Hmm.
this, and then even the Punk, the standalone Punk at like 25
$25.
bucks by
Hmm.
ship by the time you pay shipping, you're talking like 32, 33, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So very reasonable costs for these elites, which of course you can do when you're selling basically direct to consumer. So that is a big difference in your margins. So, and we don't have to get into margin talk on this. It
No.
isn't wrestling figure margin news. So,
No,
but
I hear enough of that when I'm at Mattel working Toy Fair. Shout out to all my marketing friends. Kevin, sometimes he'll listen to my stuff when he has a chance and when he finally returns my texts. But if this set was $49.99 without these two, I would have did it. So that shows you how good the value is. $80 overall, great value. I think I'll eventually get it. These will probably hit the Mattel store. And if you work Toy Fair, you get a discount. So maybe I'll pick up the whole set for $40 plus tax. So that's what I'm waiting for. And if they sell out, then God bless Mattel. Good for them.
and credit to them for like spicing up some of these things, because I didn't even realize this until I watched Alex West Collect's review of this set. The Muhammad Ali comes with a gold watch, which they've been
Mhm.
doing more removable, like, accessory watches and things in the line, and you can totally reuse those on the Nature Boy or,
Oh, yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin or any of your other figures. So, they are trying to do, like, these little things that make you just say, "Oh, I didn't know about that, and now I'm excited about it," and I'm a little more excited about Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
now that I'm getting a gold watch out of it too.
Yeah, I mean, people are buying the set for those titles, right? I mean, I'm hearing people paying 80 because if you think about it, right, and you wanted those two titles on eBay, it's going to cost you $80 anyway for those two titles for someone to make it and customize it. It's going to be, yeah, 70 to $80 with shipping. A lot of it's overseas, from China or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, maybe not 80, I don't know, but like anywhere from 50 plus with shipping. So it's like, well, I get the titles and then you get, at least two great figures and maybe two okay ones with it. So it's good value. I'm just holding off.
Yeah, and there's always friend of the channel, Dan Turnquist, and you can get pretty good deals on belts through him. So, but let's
Yeah.
talk about another set that is probably hitting my doorstep again today, and
Look
that's
at you.
AEW Unmatched 9, Alex West collects. I swear I told Nick Storm this. I think he's got a supersonic jet and he flies and he gets these figures and he flies back home and he does it in the span of like an hour. And then he's the first one to get the reviews up on these. He is so fast.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. I want to give him credit because while he does his reviews fast, he does it with detail. He really breaks it down. Some people they get stuff first and it's like an unboxing. But him, he actually reviews it, goes through everything, and want to give him full credit on this. And we were able to snag a couple of these images for our cover art on the Toy Kind of Mood side. So big shout out to Alex. We hope to have you on this show someday soon.
Yeah. And this set is one that I'm very excited about, which features John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Brian Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli from the Blackpool Combat Club. I had a
Mhm.
brain,
BCC.
yeah, the BCC, and then the first AEW and maybe last Jeff Hardy, and an updated Jamie Hayter, which is long overdue. Which you know, she only got her first figure a couple series back, but it's long overdue to get this updated look. So
100%.
very excited about this set, and you also got the chases and the rares, and the chase figure, the 1 of 5,000, is Alex Reynolds. So we're finally going to put together the Dark Order and the rare in this is the camo Claudio Castagnoli. So I don't know. How do you feel about this set?
It's fairly good, and I don't say that often. I'm a big, let's just say this out of the way. I'm a massive AEW fan, right? So I watch Dynamite. I've watched every Rampage. I love the company. I'm big on wrestling matches, and I think the stories are getting better. But the figures have been so disappointing. I have I have a decent size little collection, but I very much cherry pick this, and I'm cherry picking this wave. But I'm pretty thrilled with this Moxley overall. You could get a better look at that. It's not quite True Effects, what the quality of a Mattel, but it's much better. I mean, it's just the eyes. It's close. The hair is great. The beard's great. There's something a little off with the cheeks, maybe, but I'm okay with this. I think these scans are okay. But Mox and then the Danielson was a funny one because it looks horrible, and I know you and Nick had a good laugh about it last night. But when I watched the review of Alex, it's still not anything I'll buy, but it's not as bad. So it's hard to judge a lot of these figures by these renders in the packaging.
I think sometimes these pictures that go up early aren't doing the figures justice, but then you
Hmm.
get to have another look through someone like Alex West Collects, and he really breaks them down, and like I wouldn't have known that Moxley and Claudio have chest hair, and that's something that is a first for Jazwares in its line. I'm almost certain that there hasn't been a figure with chest hair yet. I mean, they put out Miro without chest hair for that matter.
That's
So,
bad.
yeah. And then, you look at the rest of the set, and like the head's hit and miss. And the Danielson, it does look better, I think, out of package and but the teeth are just there's something about that smiling look that you don't have a slide for it, but they showed the back of the
No.
box, and I see exactly what they were trying to do. I see it
Hmm.
I see it exactly, and it's just like, it might have been this close, just,
Hmm.
uh, you know,
That's how I
and
feel about AEW Unmatched and Arrival. They're so close, and I don't know if it's like I don't. I This is one of the questions I should have just asked Mattel just to get some insight on what Jazwares is doing. Is like, how much is that DIJ face print technology? Because they're just, unless they have paint on the face or a mask, they miss 9 times out of 10. I won't call Moxley a miss. It's not a 10 out of 10 face scan, but I'll take a 7.5 face scan from AEW right now, which is the Moxley. If you can give me a 7.5, it's like acceptable. It's like indie toy making level, because they're just not at that DIJ face print technology. But like, man, most of their scans are, to be nice, 4 out of 5. You know what I mean? Like 4 in or 5 out of 10. Like
yeah.
that's how I feel about their scans. And they're getting better. And I know you're going to talk about some in our pickups of the week. You're going to talk about a few AEW that have better scans, I think. But yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about the rest of the wave that we got here.
I'm excited about this. I am a big AEW collector. I probably have I have a lot, and I will be getting more. I don't know, like with WWE, I'm hit and miss on getting multi attires a lot of
Right.
times, unless it's certain guys. Like if it's Bret Hart, if it's Shawn Michaels, Cody, like
Hmm.
Ultimate Warrior, I will have multiples of, but
The heavy hitters, yeah.
yeah, some characters I just need one, and I'm cycling in and out. But for whatever reason, maybe it's because I got in at the ground floor with AEW, and I am a big AEW guy that I just love collecting these figures, and I think it's the interchangeability of them too. Like
Yeah,
the
that
fact
part's
that you
cool.
can pop them and put like a torso on a different pair of legs without having the
Hmm.
torso crack. It's meant to be interchangeable. I really
100%.
like that, and I think that has been a game changer, and that's something that I hope that we're getting to a point of with Mattel, and you can maybe see some of the kernels of in that they have started to do wrestlers as Build-A-Figures. So, like the
Mhm.
Disciple or the British Bulldog in blue jeans or
Yes.
Lex Luger with, the puffy shirt, You're getting those torsos,
Yeah.
like the
Mhm.
jacked torsos, and it's not just suited figures anymore. But back
Right.
to this, very excited about this wave. I've seen a lot of people I know on Instagram having QC issues, and I'm
Mm.
very concerned about that. And some of it comes down to that printing on the heads. That's a lot of what a lot of the issues that I've seen so far. So I'm fingers crossed on what I've got coming. And then the other maybe bummer about it and maybe not bummer is the Alex Reynolds, because without that one of 5,000 sticker, I'm not sure he's as desired as we'd all like him to be. And with that sticker, I think he moves a lot better and he becomes a lot more valuable. But I wonder in general if, this is to say, are they making more than 5,000 of some of these figures in this lineup? I have no idea, but, if you told me that, they were cherry picking and, like, Alex is one of 5,000 and, say, Wheeler Yuta is one of 5,000, I wouldn't be shocked.
Right.
He just
Exactly.
doesn't have the sticker.
Do you think 5,000, I joked last night and Nick Stormer was like one of 2,000, but do you think 5,000 is even too high for a guy that's barely on TV now? Like, and if he is, it's like Rampage and Dark Order's been kind of jobbed to death in the last year or so.
I mean, it's a timing thing. Like, they've pushed this figure for so long that I think that, the hardcores are gonna want it. But let's look at what's happened with Jazwares Vault. And, a lot of those Ring of Honor figures are one of 5,000s, and they haven't sold out, and they're major characters. So you bring
That's
up
what
a,
I'm
a,
saying.
a valid point, but
Right.
as far as, public outcry on, look at the bunny, being going this route, where it's a chase figure,
Right.
and look at Alex. I think that, I would rather him have 5,000 figures, I think, and, the collectors who are out there who want it have the shot at it,
Right.
if
That
it
makes
is gonna be the only way to get him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and there was that whole thing with Ethan Page selling out too, so.
Yeah, and then the other cool thing about Alex getting the figure is seeing his reaction, which he posted on social media and sharing with his son, and that was so cool to see.
Oh, yeah. This is what it's all about at the end of the day, and then you can see Dark Order, how they look together. So, finally, there are massive fans of the Dark Order, of course, so, rest in peace, Brody. I've got that set from Ringside, 2 figures in the middle, but, yeah, this is what it's all about. They're toys at the end of the day, It's like
Wh
sometimes we have to remind ourselves that.
Where's Stu and, Anna Jay in that photo?
Can't get them
He's
all.
already kicked him out. Well, I
Right.
guess he's staying true to real life. And then the other thing that, came up this week was a red mask variant of El Desperado that's coming from Storm Collectibles. We talked about New Japan, and now there's a third variation of the El Desperado figure. And I know why they do it, but, I don't know. I mean, El Desperado is a little bit more of a deep cut for me, and
Right.
so I think that it might be a harder sell. I don't know.
Right,
What do
so
you think?
you wanna talk about one of 5,000. So the original should have been one of 5,000. The black variant should have been one of 3,000, and this should be one of 2,000. I'm not kidding. The prices, it was 55, now it's down to 39.99 for the original on Ringside, which shows you that if Ringside is selling it for 40 bucks, it just didn't sell. Because and New Japan lost a lot of popularity over the last, several years during the COVID era, unfortunately, and then now a lot of their stars are going to AEW, and AEW's lost popularity too. So you want to talk about the pecking order. I mean, look at this. It's a terrific figure, and we talked about El Desperado on previous episodes of the Toy Con Moon and your show and stuff like that. And I love Storm Collectibles. I mean, you get the soft goods pants right? Soft goods pants is just in there awesome, and the torso's cool, and you got all the different hands and looks and everything. But unfortunately, like this, if this was Muda and they came out with all these different colors, we'd be going crazy for it, just like the Liger. But unfortunately, it's El Desperado. I mean, he's a champ over there. He's a great wrestler, but he's just not at that level.
And then we have some breaking news on Saturday, and that's thanks to Haskell Toy. And he's revealing the second figure in his Regium series, which is a 6-inch, 7-inch figure line that they're doing. The first was Kurt Fuller, which, you know, if you don't know who Kurt Fuller is, he was the bad guy, basically, not Zeus and No Holds Barred, but that a suited figure was the first one, and the second one is an ECW version of Al Snow with head. So that's going to be coming. He
What
put up
does everybody want?
Al Snow with head. At least I think that this was very well received so far. I am very curious to see the articulation on it. It almost looks like the legs might be like the old school basic. I hope they're not. Well, like I say old school, but like the pre-update basic. I hope I'm wrong there. I can't tell for certain. It looks a little more like that T crotch from before with the basic line of WWE figures. But
Mhm.
anyway, the knees will bend, I've heard. It looks like it's got, you know, the single joints on the elbows, but I I bought the Sabu from Epic Toys slash, you know, what was supposed to be a Cella originally, you know, and I'll buy this too.
I really like that Sabu when I first looked at it, but how's the reception been?
It's rougher than what I think anybody thought it. Well, I
Mm.
mean, the original, like when they showed off the prototypes, I think a lot of people were excited. And
Oh
then
yeah, I was too.
you know, 2 years later, you know, lots of waits and like, I think that it became something other than what it originally was, and I'm not sure who's to really blame because Epic Toys was cleaning up a mess that they inherited basically.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
anyway, that's how I understand it. But so yes, Al Snow, Hastel Toys is finally going to get some of my money.
Everyone's getting your money, man. I want your money.
Yeah. Well, speaking of spending money, we've got a lot of new
Segue.
pickups, and you've titled this a super kicked wallet kind of mood.
Yeah.
And yeah, how super kicked was your wallet this week?
Not so bad. For reasons I'll explain. Actually, that's a great question because it wasn't so bad for reasons I'll explain. But how about you got some super kickers of your own, didn't you?
Yes, one was a surprise. So, and that was the one of 3,000 Keith Lee that I happened upon in a Walmart, and I see a lot of people on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Facebook group have been finding this figure this week. I don't know what it is that, you know, Keith Lee is hitting basically everywhere, but yeah, my little Walmart in my town has been getting a lot of wrestling figures lately. They've got the
Lucky.
Bucks, they've got that, they've got the Maivia family legacy. They've picked up the Monday Night Wars, a stream of main event figures. But yeah, so that's definitely, you know, what's going on there. But back to you, like how how any surprises?
I I got a few things. I want to give a shout out to my friend of the channel, Toy Kind of Mood, Steven MC, aka K Wish. He picked up this Hogan, and what's so special about it is I'll try to do this without the glare, is that price tag. Can we see it there?
I can't.
Here we go. 689.
Under
Six
$7.
dollars. Yep, $6.89 for that. That soft goods robe alone, it could, would cost you 25, $30 if this was a figure people really wanted. So for $7, I'm thrilled. Thank you, Stephen MC found this. He's a professional toy hunter. Don't bother him, he's mine. And then we got from Walmart, finally, the figure that got Moody banned from Walmart is finally in my possession. It's the Supreme CM Punk. Stephen MC found this. He said, the package is a little damaged. I said, I don't care because this package is impossible to keep mint in box if you're going to open it anyway, which I displayed in that Cody review. So very thrilled to get the Supreme CM Punk. It looks even better. I gotta say, it looks even better in hand. I wasn't sure about the face scans, but yeah, they look pretty good. Better late than never, right? So that's part of it. But you got anything else?
I did. I ended up with the Walmart exclusive Young Bucks in the colorful attire with the lampshades on their heads, the EVPs ready to give my custom Tony Khan an EVP trigger.
Can I see
So,
the scans?
yeah, well, I can show you the scans actually because I got two more.
Oh, nice. Oh,
And
great.
these were I used my wife's cuticle trimmer to cut off some of the lampshade, and you can see like the sculpts, and I think Nick is maybe the standout of these two. He
Yeah.
is that looks pretty dope, right?
Yeah. No, that honestly, it doesn't look bad. So they actually don't come with another scan. They have the lampshade there the whole time. They
Yep. Which kinda
oh, they
surprised me, but I think
mm,
that one of the
that looks
things I
cool.
think Nick Storm and I talked about last night, I can't remember much from that because it was pretty unhinged, was that these were earmarked to be Supreme figures, or at least the
Mm.
tires were, I believe. So, I think
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
maybe them rescuing that Series 3
Mm.
Bucks, but you can't pull off their arms.
No,
So, they're
that
not
makes
Supremes, but
yeah, I got you. That makes sense. And I finally got this set. And the only reason I want to show this set, this isn't my meat and potatoes, but I want to show this set. You've all seen it. It's been reviewed to death on YouTube and everybody's got it. But I'm happy to get it because remember when I
the
reviewed the Monday Night War set, I don't have I still don't have the Teddy torso. If anyone has a Teddy long torso from the Monday Night Wars, an extra one, you want to give it away, I'll pay for shipping. You want to sell it to me because you need money, talk to me. I still don't have it because I have Kevin Nash. I haven't been back at the Mattel store or Walmart or anything. I think people are finding them, but I'll be able to at least have a John Cone. Now, one of
This is
the
the
reason,
SummerSlam Elite wave that you're talking
yes,
about with The
yes.
Undertaker, Kane, Lex Luger, and X-Pac, and yes, the Build-A-Figure John Cone.
Yes, thanks for that description. We're audio and video, Travis. Wake up. But it's hey, I went to bed pretty late and woke up early to try to get a figure obscura. So just want to show these off. But the lesson I learned was from Brian Myers. We talked about Major Pod in the beginning, and he was talking to John, and he said, be an adult, buy from Ringside. Don't wait. It's not worth the extra money. And now I did, I'm not gonna lie, I got these on Amazon because they popped up. And no, but now look how long it's taken me to get them. What did I
Yep,
save? Maybe 20 bucks. Was it
maybe.
really worth it? Because now, if I review the set, no one will care. So it's almost better for me to just buy everything on Ringside. And speaking of Ringside, my friend, we have From the Vault. You can only get From the Vault on Ringside. And I want to know, maybe I can show the figure and you can give me a quick thought of what you think of it. How about that?
Oh, the Triple H?
Yeah, the Triple H
Uh,
right now.
I think that everything neck down is great. I think the head is there's something about that beard that's weird. Not to bring it
It's
back to old
ju-
just for men,
yeah,
but
leave it gray. Leave
yeah.
it gray. Yeah, that leave it gray. It's just for men, but the accessories are great. The good
Yep.
thing is we have a gazillion Triple H's, so
That packaging too is
so good.
that packaging and the new legends, the new Shawn Michaels, the DX from the vault. Another solid figure there. Good upgrades, I hope. Looking forward to seeing that head sculpt in person if mine ever ship out of New York.
Yeah. Um, it's not as bad as the Triple H, but we've seen swaps of it already. And I actually, another shout out to Alex. I bought the Ruthless Aggression Shawn Michaels just to get the face. I was lucky enough to find it at 16. But this is one of the home runs of the set. And
Yep.
this, we're talking about Bubba Ray Dudley in the WWE camo attire.
Yep, that is such a cool figure. Like, and Alex West collects just his reviews, knocking it out. And that head sculpt on Bubba Ray is such an upgrade. So you can see why these sold out or they're on back order at Ringside now. And these were the first ones that I noticed were selling fast. Were the Deadly Boys.
Mhm. Right. Now, I want to ask you while I show these off is how now they're controversial, right? Because they decrease the value of people's collection. And then I think the controversy to me isn't that. The controversy is they're not really upgraded. They pretty much are re-releases with the double joints, right? I mean, there's slight upgrades, but to me, I haven't done their I do want to review this over the weekend, but they haven't I feel like they haven't done enough to upgrade them.
I don't know. I like the upgraded arms. I think the head sculpts for the most part are upgrades. And sometimes they'll swap in a different head sculpt or multiple head sculpts. Like the tugboat that's coming is coming with a couple of head sculpts. So I think that that's very cool that they're doing that. And you're showing off the ringside exclusive Kane, hardcore Kane, the defining moments Undertaker, one of the early defining moments figures.
With the
And
Batman cape. The
yep.
Batman cape is in there, so I'm excited I think these two are winners from the set. I haven't opened them yet, but just looking at it, Kane and Undertaker, we've gotten a million of them, but I feel like they are up there on the winners. And then the final two, you want to break these two down for me while I show them off? It's the Ultimate Warrior and Cena.
Ultimate Warrior, which was a Target, I think it was Hall of Fame or Hall of Champions. It was one of the halls they had at Target, and that's like his feuding with Jake the Snake Roberts days. I think, yeah, yeah, I can hear Snake Man, and then John Cena with a orange jersey. It was a defining moments figure, and my buddy Tarver89 was telling me that the U.S. title, the spinner, that one was going for a pretty penny. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's another one that's getting the re-release treatment. And you know, I think that we've received a few Cenas from that sort of era recently,
Mhm.
but that one comes with the pumps, right?
Comes with the pumps. This one's loaded. I mean, if you gave this two more face sculpts, it's an ultimate, right?
Yep.
Obviously without the butterfly joints and drop down hips and all that stuff. But as far as like the accessories, I mean, all the hands, the championship belt, the necklace, the hat, like the soft goods, two soft goods. Like this is loaded for 24.99 or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I am very glad that they're making these from the vaults. They're going to do 8 still, eight guys at a time, or 8 guys, but they're going to do 4 at a time going forward. So I think that
Mhm.
that's going to be a better it's going to be better for my wallet, and I think it's going to be better for everybody else who are picking these up. I mean, it sounds like they're going to do 8 again in series 2, but moving forward it will be in fours. So I think you're
Nice.
going to get the same amount of from the vault figures, just broken up.
Broken up. Love it all as like again, as someone who wasn't buying every wrestling figure alive in the WWE Elite and Ultimate line. This is great, great for me. I've never had any of these 8 figures, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any of the 8 coming out either. So that's 16 figures I never had. So to me, it's Ringside Collectibles, but they're re-releases. These are for the new hardcore fan, if that makes any sense. Because you have the longtime hardcore fan who, if you're doing a review, you want them so you can compare. But you might pass on a lot of it if you're a longtime hardcore fan. But if you're a new fan in your casual, you can't find these right now at Walmart or Target. So
No.
this is probably not the target audience for a casual fan. And a lot of them are throwbacks anyway. So there's not
Hmm.
like Roman Reigns and CM Punk and Cody. Oh, well, there is a CM Punk, but not the modern day. But I'm saying as far as like the hardcore, I'm all in, I'm buying everything, but I just started during COVID. This is like the perfect set for you.
Yeah, this is and I've heard multiple people say if you're collecting for to flip for like for value and not just enjoyment, if you're collecting, I would caveat that with if you're collecting a modern line like this that is still going for like resale value, then you just can't have that expectation that they're not gonna dip back into the archives like they are on these things, they're out to make money. That's Mattel has shareholders. They're not interested in, secondary values. They're interested in their, making that money themselves. So if it's, a figure that has value, like it's like and that they can re-release it, they will.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I
And I
don't blame them for it. It's a
no.
business at the end of the
And
day.
I mean, if you wanna collect something, that is gonna have value, collect LJNs, collect Hasbros, collect any of those old lines, that those are the things that, because they're not gonna remake those, you don't have an active company working on these things. So,
Right. They're still alive.
yeah,
I mean, the line is still alive, so that means they're gonna bring it back, and they're at the era where they should be bringing the stuff back. I know we got that question this past week on a Toy Kind of Mood on as far as like would is it far enough to see re-releases of the GI Joe classified figures? And I was like, well, they're doing it in a retro card and giving us new stuff on this from the vault. Like I said, other than the joints, there are slight upgrades. Like some figures have more than others. And some of them are not upgrades. Like I've seen some of the reviews. Like people are not thrilled with the new face scans. They like the older ones better. They definitely aren't using true effects. Like I mean, maybe the Bubba Ray is.
yeah,
And it's hard to judge the ones that have the long hair and the face whether they are or not. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to review these from a different perspective than say our friends Trey and Kyle because they've been around forever and they reviewed every figure ever. They're goats, they're gods. But for someone like me, it's interesting to see how I feel because I've never had these figures and I'm
right.
jumping in like, how do I feel about this? So if that's a video you're looking forward to seeing and you want to see a ranking and review video of the vault from more of a casual but new hardcore collector, that's something I might think of doing this weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got a lot of re-release waves now, and I've heard multiple people talking about it. You know, I, we got the news about the Monday Night War best of line.
Mm.
That's coming. There's a Legends one. There's From the
Top
Vault.
picks,
There's Top
greatest
Picks. There's
hits.
Greatest Hits. There's all the
Legends
above.
greatest hits.
And
Yeah.
and so
Ultimate
I
greatest hits. Best of
and,
Ultimate Edition.
And I like that they're trying to work in new attires where they can, like
Mhm.
little tweaks, and to me that Batista Ultimate Edition is perfect because it's different than what we got before. And they're not
Right.
always going to be able to do that and in some cases I'm happy they do it. In some cases I'd rather they not really re-release some of these, but I'd like to see them if this From the Vault, I would like it to be figures that are 10 plus years old or 8 plus years old. I think
Right.
those are the ones that you dip into, not, the Paul Heyman that was just released in a 3-pack. But
Right.
I also understand why you do it because that was a
He's
store
hot in the Hall of
exclusive.
Fame.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's hot in the Hall of Fame too. Let me ask you this. Um, do you think easy question is always money, right? I mean, the easy answer to everything is always money business. Do you think they thought about making better upgrades to these some of these figures, but they looked at it like, well, new collectors probably want the old one the way it is? Or do you think it's more like, well, that's gonna just cost way more to do real, like, true effect stickers on them, but I'm like, "You can't fool me." Like, do you think it would just cost more to, like, fix this? Like, the tables with the Dudleys are black, like, nobody wants a black table, like, stuff like that. Like, these guys are Ozer and McKean are brilliant, like, obviously, so whenever they don't do something, I'm like, it's cost cutting. But do you also think maybe they look at From the Vault is we're just giving them slight upgrades to something that people just want. They probably want the originals.
I don't know. I think it comes down to what they're able to do too. Like some of the heads can't be tooled, or they don't have the tools for some of the parts
Mm.
anymore. They just run out, or they don't last forever, is what Steve told me. So that's one of the reasons I think that they do some of the things they do. Like the in series 2 of From the Vault, you're getting an upgraded, a newer D-Generation X Shawn Michaels head on that figure, but it's one that they've released before. It like
Mm.
the tugboat in the Legends wave that's coming, the greatest hits wave or whatever, best of. It's
Right.
it's got 2 heads, and one of those is came on the exclusive Shockmaster figure that they
I'm about to
released.
fall through the screen.
Yeah, but it was the perfect head
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that figure. And
Mhm.
so like
Exactly.
some things they can do if they have it, and
Right.
my damn toys talks about the white attire, the white ranger, basically Seth Rollins, and
Mhm.
getting the upgraded thicker legs on there that we know that they have. It's just, can they do it? Hopefully. You see the upgrades they did on the greatest hits AJ Styles Elite that's coming. They gave him the new torso. They gave him the
Right.
thicker legs. So I think they'll do it where they can, but sometimes it like crosses a line. I think that
Right.
they've sort of set these boundaries that they, we'll give them the new arms, we'll give them this. So I don't know. I would like to see, you know, there are a lot about things I'd like to see, and it's getting more attires of these legends out too that are missing. I think that
Mhm.
there's still a deep catalog for them to dig into that they haven't hit on. So I'm hoping that we can get more than just re-releases, and it probably just feels like we're getting a lot of them because they're coming in bunches. When you get
Mhm.
8 figures in From the Vault, it feels like a lot, right? You spread that out with 4s and it doesn't feel as bad, right? Or
Right.
doesn't feel like it's this tidal wave of re-releases.
Right. And I think this would be a good segue, cap it off. We talked about possibly having a concept that kind of relates to From the Vault, but like wish list dream. Do you want to explain that for maybe future episodes? Not sure if we'll do it the next time, but in the future, I'm really excited about it. But you were like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "We're about to record. I can't do it."
So, the
Yeah.
idea is basically embracing the fact that they're doing these re-releases and looking at a particular wave, and we don't have to go in order. It doesn't have to be like Elite Wave 1, on the first time we do this. It can be Legends Wave, 5 or something like that,
Sure.
and picking a figure in those waves that we would like to see remade with modern upgrades.
I actually have one right on the spot because I just did the Cody top 10 ranking, and I'd like to see like in it maybe either the like dashing or legacy Cody or like so I don't really have one, but I just have a thought like one of the old school Cody's I'd like to see in a From the Vault because Cody's so popular that a lot of people now might have been like sleeping on it because he was a mid-card dude back then, and like even Stardust isn't like selling that great. You can get the chase for $24
Hmm.
on Ringside. So I'm wondering if like maybe throwing in one of the old Codys and modernizing it would be really cool.
Yeah, I definitely think it would. You get your dashing look or your legacy or whatever it would be. I think those, would be prime candidates for it.
For sure.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. We will be back next week. We'll be back a little bit later following the double pay-per-view weekend. We'll have what? Uh it's not
King and
Crown
Queen
King
of the
and
Ring.
Queen of the Ring. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then Double or Nothing, man. So
Yeah.
Double or Nothing usually does a lot of reveals with Ringside and Jazwares, right? That's going to be a usually.
I don't know. Like, everything's up in the air with AEW figures, so, like, we don't know what to expect in the
But I
future at
got
this point.
one last question for you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
And I'm ready too.
So, please like, rate, and review. We will be back next week